Hello everybody, welcome to the exciting devlog for Scepter of God. I hope you've all had a good week. My week's been pretty good. I've been chugging away at this game, and I'm excited to share what I've done this week. So before moving on to the main thing I want to talk about, the first thing I want to mention is that I've added new sound effects for whenever the enemies are near. So basically, when the skeletons walk near you, you'll sort of hear like a little rattling, a bone rattling noise. When wolves are near, you'll hear the pitter patter of their like feet. For like the human enemies, their clothes will like swish around, things like that. So like, uh, if I want to hear it, whenever the skeletons run, they have a little bone clicking, clacking, things like that. So that's just a small thing that I've done to make the game feel more alive. And the I even add attenuation so that they'll you won't hear the enemies if they're like a full 2 rooms away, and they'll gradually get louder and louder as they get closer and closer. So that's one small neat thing that I've added. The main thing I want to talk about is knockback and hit flash. But before that, while I was thinking of implementing knockback, I realized that I wanted to have knockback for different knockbacks for different attacks. Obviously, right? A heavier attack will knock the player farther than a dinky little slash. But the problem with that was the way I handled damage was very inefficient. So I have this structure called damage amount damage info, which stores everything about an attack. And the way I applied damage was whenever uh, the enemy hit the player using a melee trace. Where is it? This is the player, new enemy base, melee trace. Yeah, melee trace. I call this get damage function, which basically damages the enemy. And I basically went make damage info. Okay, filled out this manually, and Bob's your uncle. The damage was being done to the player. But the problem, each enemy is only limited to one attack and one magic attack, because those two because they're like different functions. But even though my skeletons have like 2 or 3 animations for attacking, all their damage values would be the exact same, and that was very limiting. Well, that was like very limiting. So to remedy this, I basically went and created a data asset. A data asset which will basically store, which is basically a blueprint that will store these default variables, damage values, knockback values, and hit stop duration, and I can create different data assets for the different types of attacks. So if so basically for things like a skeleton backhand or a skeleton downward swing or like a horizontal swing or a jump bite, I can have those. I can create these separately and assign them to each of my enemies whenever needed. So in my enemy base, I where is that? Yeah, I created a map, which is a map with variable type animation montage, and each animation montage has its own data asset. So if we go to this skeleton axe dude, the skeleton axe dude, he has basically 3 attacks: a backhand melee swing. That's what I called it. This is what it looked like to me. So I have that. I have a horizontal and I have a downward swing, and each of these have been assigned and created separate data assets. So something like the backhand will do 20 damage, and will knock back the player 300 units horizontally and 250 units vertically. But for something like a downward swing, which is a more heavier hit, it will push the player back further, but it won't make them jump up that much more. And they'll have a longer hit stop. So basically, when the enemy hits you, the screen will freeze for a longer amount of time than the previous attack. And it also does like 25 damage, slightly more than the regular hit. more than the regular hit. So that's the way I've arranged my attacks now, so that each enemy can have differing amount of attacks, which will make things more customizable and just better. Another problem I ran into was how to implement knockback, and well, that was actually pretty simple. I just used an interface. So whenever the player damages the enemy, or whenever the enemy damages the player, I just call this interface apply knockback and start Hitstop, which will go to their respective events in the blueprints. So for the player, it's in attacks, right? No, it's in. Where did I put it? Is it just an event? Yeah, okay. It's just an event, which basically takes the knockback values, and I've got a node called launch character, which will launch my player or the enemy in the direction that I specify. Same thing. Same thing with the hit stop. I've called an interface from whenever I need to, and whenever this is called, it will set the time dilation to whatever I want, and time dilation basically makes it so that I can slow down time in game or speed it up however I want. And this hit stop duration is the hit stop that will be specific to each attack, and that will basically set a timer for when it needs to stop. So for a 0.2, it will stop after 0.2 seconds. For 0.7, it will stop after 0.7 seconds, and things like that. So to see it in action, you can see that the screen stops a little to basically make the player feel the impact of the hit, and things like that. Another thing that you also might have noticed, the screen flashes red and shakes a little. That's another thing I implemented, was camera shake. I forgot where I implemented it. It should be whenever I hit the enemy. Well, actually, where did I implement camera shake? Oh wait, no, I know where I did it. I'm an idiot. Camera shake basically happens whenever I get hit, so that would be in get damaged in the enemy. Sorry, in the player. So when the player gets damaged, it will play a camera shake. I haven't made it customized yet. I probably will later on. And whenever the player gets damaged, I have a little widget that basically has an animation. That basically has a fade in animation. The fade in animation that plays. Yeah, here it is. Basically flashes red for a little bit to let the player know, okay, I have been hit. Oh no, I need to do something. And just in case I'm not creating it again and again and again, I just convert it to a variable. Check, okay, if it's valid, just go and play this animation in the widget blueprint. Don't keep on creating more and more and more. It'll basically just cause a lot of problems. So with these steps, I've created a more impactful game that'll probably end up being a better experience for when you're playing the game. It will give feedback. It'll give better feedback on when you get hit, and just generally, I hope, will make the game more enjoyable. Oh, another one small thing I wanted to mention. Now, when the thing with camera shake, now whenever the charge shot happens, the screen shakes. So now, yeah, big explosions will create big shock waves, shake the screen. It'll just feel way cooler. So that's all I wanted to talk about this week. I hope you're enjoying these devlogs as I am. I'm not the best talker, I know, but I'm slowly, I hope I've been getting better and better, and I'll keep continuing to improve. So thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video or liked the game, consider subscribing, hitting the like button and all that. And if you want to check out this game, in the description there's a link to it, and also to my Ko-Fi page if you want to support me, the game, and the channel as well. Thank you so much for watching. See you all later.